commissioners are working and doing their work for the county. But I will just correct a couple of statements, Franklin, and then we can talk about some more numbers. One is, you were paid over the 26-hour base, and you did clock over 32 hours in several months, and you
Because
were
I had to
compensated.
do it for the insurance reason.
No, you didn't. You didn't have to claim 38.5 hours.
In fact, you took my insurance away for 1 month.
I
You said
didn't
it
do
wasn't
it.
right. The hell you didn't.
I didn't do it. I did challenge it, but it wasn't my doing. It was following the law. The other thing is for a commission to go full-time is a vote of the commission. It is not a change in the form of government. That's odd that that was brought up. So, when I first started on this commission, Franklin, we had a full-time administrative assistant who in an investigation said that she had worked 24 hours per week on a commission work. So, if you took her entire salary and divided it by 5 and times it by 3, you'd come up with 3/5 of her salary. And then if you look at the 26 hours per commissioner per week, Broadwater County was spending 102 hours per week on commissioner work at a cost of about $167,500. Okay?
Look at it, your figures,
Did you run any of your own?
no, but I know none of your
No?
stuff's ever right. As far as
Excuse
I'm
me?
concerned.
Okay. Folks, there is work to be done by the commission. Period. It is what it is. We are responsible for a $13 million budget. We saved the sheriff's budget in June. She was looking at possibly having to lay off every single one of her deputies because there was no money from July to November. We fixed that as a commission. We are responsible for contracts. We are responsible for 9 department heads and 65 employees who are part-time or under those department heads. This is not a job where you come to work 1 day a week. Again, I do not believe that the commission at this point should be full-time, period. But if you look, Franklin, you can rebut here in just a minute, but if you look at just the amount of hours that we're spending on commission work, with 3 working commissioners, we could get the work done, just where we're at. The problem is we don't have that. We are spending about, right now, as compared to that 7 years ago, we are spending 64% of what we were back then. We're almost saving that entire amount for an FTE that we had in our administrative assistant. We're also spending only 76% of the hours. We are not getting the job of commissioner done right now. It is what it is. There's a lot of different plans we can look at. I think it's evident that we don't have a commissioner who's done any homework on this or who's willing to civilly sit and discuss what it is we should be doing. Franklin, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, we had a good financial officer and everything taken care of. A few things, audits. Audit reports haven't even been turned into the state for 2 years.
That's
13 and
not
14.
true at all.
That's what the report said,
No.
And a whole bunch
Oh
of-
my goodness.
other things.
As a fellow elected official.
No, Brenda, sit.
Both
Go
of
ahead.
you are an embarrassment to the
Both.
county.
Will you please sit?
Both of you are an embarrassment to the county.
Thank you very much for your comments. We need to
And,
get,
and you want to, no, you involved me in this discussion when you said you had to save my budget.
we did, I have
No,
the
you
letter
did not.
here.
When
Yes,
we had a financial officer, I had somebody to work with. Now that we don't, I have nobody to work with.
that isn't true. That is not true at
That
all.
is true.
No. Brenda,
The one reason we had a
The
picture
way you guys
budget,
bicker back and forth, it's an embarrassment to this county, and I'm embarrassed
agree.
with this county.
I agree.
and Brenda, why we had to fix your budget, because Oprah's done everything she could to
This is-
slash your
This is
budget.
a true embarrassment to our county.
You're right. Franklin, I think this has to be tabled like everything else, the minutes and the previous discussion. I am gonna call foul on, the audit has been turned in, the last 2 years. And I'm, Denning and Downey would have let us know if that
They
wasn't the
did.
case. No, they didn't, Franklin. No, they didn't. Is there anything else you have to offer today?
Well, I don't know. This idea of working together. That's almost impossible to try to work with Obert. Now lay that right out there, and it's the absolute truth.
Looks like to me that, and if I can have the floor, I don't wanna get anybody.
Let's go ahead and get your name for the public record. I'll go ahead and make
Dwayne
public
Hall.
comment. Thank you.
Anyway, it looks like to me that the time she's putting in there and getting paid over.
No overtime.
No,
Nope.
no, I didn't say overtime.
I said
I
over.
just said getting paid over the commissioner's salary. Is that something you're creating? You go through the mail, you go through everything and find out all this stuff, then you come up here to these meetings without acknowledging everything to the other people and try to make them look bad. I don't believe that that should be even possible.
Thank you.
I believe that in all cases, that you guys should get along, but you can't. Because of your, I'm smarter than you. And that's all I can say.
Thank you. The mail is a matter of public record. It's kept in a community folder. Any commissioner or the public can go through it at any time during the week prior to the meeting. The fact that only one of us reads it is not that person not doing their job. That's
What happened
very
to the other
basic of our
commissioners?
jobs. I don't know. So, I will say this, Elaine is, even though she is ill today, she is reading her emails and she is responding. She does her homework prior to these meetings every single week. So, I am going to just submit this for the record, Ann. Maybe I already did. I will submit the changes to the memo. It is 2 commissioners that were receiving the compensation above 26 hours per week, and the language was 32 hours at least per week and at least 1 week per month. I will also say this, that Corey's language was incredibly fiscally responsible, and I will stand by what I said a couple weeks ago. I believe that every single elected official should work with the language that he gave us. Every single elected official should have a base, part-time base, just whatever the number is. And then for everything they work and can demonstrate that they worked, they are compensated hourly above that, up to full-time, 40 hours, nothing above. No overtime, nothing beyond that. I think that our local government, I think our state government, I think our national government would work a whole lot better if electeds were held to more of that kind of accountability. That also gives the citizens the opportunity to know what we're doing on your behalf. Keeping a timesheet which tells you guys where we're at and what we're doing, I think is important. And that's what we've been doing. So, and that was again at the county attorney's direction. So I think that's all. Anybody's welcome to any of these documents. Yes, Cheryl?
Name's Cheryl Campbell. I still recommend that you notice a public hearing, a true public hearing in the newspaper, so there's a real full discussion of this.
Thank you very much. And this was in the agenda, and it was fully advertised, so appreciate that.
No, a full public hearing that's noticed, the special public notice, there's to be a public hearing for.
We can certainly look into that. Any other comments? Public comment? Carol?
Is there any way that you could take a class or talk about this situation of not working together? Because it happens every meeting. There's all this confrontation. There's some way that you're gonna have to sit down and decide that you're gonna work together and solve these problems instead of just fight with each other. Now, we come here to see the business that's carried on, and all we see is a fight. And maybe you're gonna have to have counseling, I don't know, but something's gotta be done. You just can't sit here and, we're gonna be tabling everything, and I think that's a good idea, since there's a disagreement and not enough information about, but something's gotta be done.
Carol, you're 100% right, and I don't know what the answer is either. I will say this, politics is not an easy sport. It's not for the weak-minded, it's not for the thin-skinned. And unfortunately, I have heard that it's worse in local government than other levels of government. I think there's a lot of truth to that. We are supposed to argue. We are supposed to each do our own homework and come to this meeting prepared and with numbers and with information and emails from the sources we worked with. And we're supposed to debate, and we're supposed to argue with respect with each other to kind of come to a consensus. This shouldn't be my decision, it shouldn't be Franklin's decision, and it shouldn't be Elaine's decision. It should be a compilation of the three of us, having each done our own bit to come here together and make decisions. And that isn't being done, and you're right, it is a disservice to the citizens.
Most of the time, decisions have already been made before the meeting ever starts.
Franklin, that's just not true. No commissioner can make any decisions. We're just a third of the commission.
Case dismissed.
Right.
All right,
You bet.
folks. If you have any more questions, we're totally open. Again, Corey's idea was to provide more transparency, and I think was more fiscally responsible than
And Corey said that it was wrong in January. He says, I wish I had more time to go through it at the time, and he didn't. Corey stepped into one hell of a position.
Yeah.
We hadn't had a county attorney for over 2 years at that point, is what it basically meant. And Corey's been really overworked on this stuff. And he said himself, he said if he'd had the time to go through that earlier,
Well, according to my understanding, when Corey said that, that's the day that she went down and got the rules and brought them up and said 32 hours. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I'll work this out with Corey, and this is scary, because now Corey's saying, oh, it's wonderful.
Okay. Corey's not here, and what I am gonna say is, we're all human beings. We all make mistakes.
Oh, I know that.
Absolutely nobody should be thrown under the bus. What we need to do now, aside from my opinion on the fiscal responsibility, is realize that may not be what the law says. If that is something that we need to change, and it looks like it is, then we need to go ahead and make the change. And then we need to move forward. But I think as far as you know, discussing somebody who's not here, I'd like to put him into that. So we will table this discussion as well.
Talk about fiscal responsibility, that's what I've always worked on, went on. And this is not a fiscal responsibility of going full-time.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Franklin? All right, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thanks, Ann. Time of adjournment. We used to have a clock right above your heads. We don't. It's 12:05.
Well, there is,
Exempt from this insurance?
yeah.